Welcome. This is Afrotales Television, where Africa's ancestors come alive. In the lush hills of Ndundu Kingdom, a powerful Igbo Omengbaoji ruled with ancestral pride. Her Royal Highness Adanma stood as a pillar of beauty and sorrow. For 10 years, the royal palace echoed with silence. Her womb, sacred and longed for, had produced no heir. The shame of barrenness hung heavy on her shoulders. Though she wore beads of royalty and gold-threaded wrappers, Adanma bore an emptiness she believed was divine punishment. She fasted, she prayed, she rejected the ancestral shrines and gave herself fully to Christianity, which had recently found its way into the kingdom through the white missionaries and their colonial backers. The king, her husband, had grown distant, but Adanma clung to God, or more specifically to Timon Smith, the British missionary who spoke of healing and grace. Timon was a charismatic evangelist with a sharp intellect and a troubled heart. He and his spouse, a midwife, Margaret Smith, were known not just for their missionary work, but for their open sympathy towards vulnerable African children, especially twins, whom local traditions still consider abominations. Adanma, ever devoted, found in Timon both a spiritual father and emotional solace. Their relationship blurred lines of power, passion, and purity. Months passed, then came the whispers. Adanma's stomach began to swell, not subtly, but massively. Her frame changed, her movement slowed, and in time her pregnancy could no longer be hidden. The royal court was filled with an atmosphere of joy, but soon turned to that of anxiety. Her belly started to grow abnormally large, and the rumor mills went overdrive. They whispered this was no ordinary pregnancy. This was likely twins. In 19th century Igbo land, both births were viewed as a demonic sign, especially among the royalty. Twins were said to bring spiritual instability and political doom. For a queen to birth twins was to insult the gods. The king's elders demanded divinations. The chief priest spoke in dark parables. The womb of the queen holds a storm. If not quietened, the land will drown. The queen was advised to cleanse the pregnancy before it defies the land. But the princess Adanma refused. For the first time, she defied not just her husband, but the tradition of her people. Margaret Smith, already suspicious of the child's paternity, was even more concerned about the fate of the unborn. She had worked Mary Celeste, the Scottish missionary in Calabar, who led the fight to protect twins from infanticide. When she learned of the threats to the Adanma's pregnancy, she took a bold step. She declared the twins must not die. Her husband Timon, torn between fear and faith, supported her. Together they contacted the British district officer, invoking colonial treaties and mission protection laws. The night of the birth arrived. Torches flared across the compound. Women sang ancestral dirges. The king was absent, ashamed and torn. Inside the birthing chamber, Adanma writhed in labor, her screams echoing with centuries of defiance. And Margaret Smith assisted. Then two cries pierced the air. Two baby boys, both alive, identical and crying. The queen, soaked in sweat and blood, whispered, God has remembered me, and doubled it. Outside, cows brayed. The chief priest had gathered youths to snatch the twins for ritual disposal. were British soldiers called in under the orders of the district officer, stood guard at the palace. Steel met spear, hymns met incantations. A standoff unfolded between two wars, colonial Christianity and indigenous spiritual law. Following the incident, the British authorities declared permanent ban on the killings of twins in the kingdom, mirroring the work of Mary Celeste in other parts of Nigeria. The kingdom was forced to hold an emergency council. The law, though resented, stood. Twin children were no longer condemned but reluctantly accepted. The queen, now a mother of two, was both celebrated and cursed. Some saw her as the mother of abomination. Others called her the mother of a change, a new dawn. Adanma no longer cared about her title. Adanma no longer cared about her title, nor the shame that had once bound her. She rocked her twins beneath the palace odala tree, humming a song in one breath and whispering ancestral blessings in the next. She had lived the red dream, a dream soaked in blood, controversy, and sacred defiance. But in her arms, she held the future twice over. Thanks
Thank
for
you for
watching.
watching Afro Tales TV. If you enjoyed these stories and want to hear more from the heart of Africa, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Let us know your favorite tale in the comments below.